Hey everybody, I'm Jack Midkiff and welcome to the Jack Midkiff Podcast. Well, today I want to talk about, this is the subject. I'll just start there. Change your identity and you change your life. Too many people are hung up on, well, I was born this way, so I guess I'll have to stay this way. Well, my family, I didn't come from money. I love the saying that I've heard this several times, but someone famous said it. I should know who, I would guess, but I don't. But they said, I may not have come from money. I may not have come from greatness in the world standards, but money will come from me. Greatness will come from me. So in other words, you have the ability to change who you are so that you can change who your children believe that they are and who they believe they can be, and all those different things. So we're going to get into that in a minute. But before I do, I want to encourage you to go right now and hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and I'll let you know by that every time there's a new podcast, there's a new video, whatever uploaded. And I would love to hear from you. You can catch me on all the different socials. My handle is the same on all of those. You just go to Instagram and type in Jack _Midkiff, Facebook, Jack _Midkiff, TikTok, Jack _Mid. Are you getting the picture? Yeah. And also a great place to go to connect with me. And then I have a weekly blog that I put on there every week, just some stuff that I think will help you if you are into the whole changing your identity. I'm not saying changing who you are. I'm talking about personal development. I'm talking about getting out of a rut of not being able to accomplish things in life to knowing that, hey, greater is He that is within me than he that is in the world. That's a whole nother thing, though. Too many times Christians go, oh, God's got it under control. It's all on Him. No, it's not all on Him. He gave you a free will. And that opens up a whole new can of worms. But go to jackmidkiff.com and I'll be adding things. And I've got something really exciting. I don't want to talk about it yet, but I'm so excited to where we can be connected and I can just help you and walk through life with you and encourage you, because I truly believe that's what God called me to be, it is encourager. Yes, I've been a pastor for 28 years and I love pastoring, but my calling, I have realized, goes beyond just the church walls, because I have such a desire to help people succeed, whether they go to church or whether they don't go to church. Now, I will tell you, don't try to separate what I teach from Christian values, because I am a Christian and I believe that God is our source in everything we do. So, this commercial is turning into a teaching. Didn't mean to do that. Follow me on all the socials. Hit subscribe in YouTube and go to jackmidkiff.com. I'd love to talk to you. All right. As we get started today, I want to tell you a few things. And yes, I've got things written down. I'm going to be reading some of them. But it is all what I believe, and I'm going to be just helping you with the things that I can. First of all, your life is not created by your circumstances first. Your life is created by your identity. And you know what? There's so many different facets of identity. There's the whole thing of where we came from. See, Jack Midkiff, the human being individual that is a United States citizen, was born in Logan, West Virginia, not born in Logan, West Virginia on July 21st, 1969. And I was born to beautiful, wonderful parents that loved me and provided for me and gave me everything that I didn't even deserve, but they did because they were wonderful people, Jack and Doyle Midkiff. So I started getting my identity somewhat from them, obviously. My DNA comes from them, so I can't help but have traits like them. I can't help but have looks that favor them. I can't help that. That is just who I am. And you know what? I'm not only okay to tolerate it, I'm proud of it. I'm thankful for my parents. But that's just one aspect of identity. As we grow and as we get older and as we, learn how to be our own person, we develop behaviors. And some of them obviously are ingrained to us through our circumstances and through the place that we were raised. But I promise you right now, based on neuroscience and based on the Word of God, you have the power to change anything that you don't like. If you were taught racism growing up, racism is a choice for you. Yeah. If you were taught unhealthy eating habits growing up, unhealthy eating habits is a choice for you. Part of that, all of that identity, things past your physical DNA, you can change all of that. And there's so many facets of identity. I have as a Christian, I have an identity, but it's all choices that I've made. I'm not one of those Christians that believe, God causes these bad things to happen, so I have to put up with it because He's sovereign. That is not what the sovereignty of God is, no more than Him taking butterfly wings and flying across the universe. That's not what that is. But I just want you to understand that your identity is not your life. The life you're living right now is not created by circumstances. It's created by your identity. And your identity, you have a choice in. The main premise of today and what I want to talk about is you don't consistently perform at the level of your goals. You perform at the level of your identity. So the big question is, who do you believe you are? Who are you? And here's the next question. Is that identity producing who you want to be? Is who you are, and if I ask you who you are, is that producing who you actually want to be? So I've got a few things here that I'm just going to go over, and I'm going to start here. Everything begins in your thinking. Everything starts in your thinking. Every action begins with the thought. Thoughts become beliefs. Beliefs become identity. Identity produces behavior, and behavior creates results. So how you act is who you see yourself as. Now, I do believe that there's people, based on my own personal experiences, that we try to fit into these molds of what we think we're supposed to be. Listen, I started pastoring a church in 1998, and it was not until 2013 that I got fed up with trying to fit into a mold that wasn't made for me as a pastor. And here's what I did. I went to God and I said, this ain't working for me. Now, you can pray and talk to God however you want to. He knows my heart. I'm not being disrespectful to Him. I just said, God, this is not working for me. I mean, the church was growing. We had already moved from one location that we built into another complete strip mall in the middle of our town. And I was very thankful. However, I was not living the way I wasn't talking or preaching the way that I wanted to. I was always doing what I felt like was right based on what I'd been taught, not what I believed, not the identity that I really saw myself as. So, you know what? I changed. I've never heard God's voice. A lot of people say they've heard God speak to them audibly. That's great. I'm not doubting it. I'm just saying it's never happened to me. But down in here, I feel like that day he reminded me of who I was. Because my dad taught me. My dad was, 6th grade educated, just a common man in this world's standards. But man, my dad was a dreamer. And because of that, now he never did own these things because, quite frankly, my mom, and I love my mom, I'm so thankful that I am a two-part being, and one part being what my daddy taught me to be, and the next part being what my mama taught me to be, and I'm so thankful for both parts. But my mama was always a little more conservative, And thank God for that. There has to be a balance. But my dad, at a 6th grade level education, he was offered the opportunity to buy into a Chevrolet dealership. He was also offered to buy a part of a coal mine in West Virginia. That's where we're originally from. And so he always taught me, I was always raised, not because he said, Jackie, this is the way that it goes, is because I always heard him say this, and I watched him live this. He said, it don't cost a bit more to dream big than it does little. And he believed not only in himself, but he believed in other people. I always wanted new instruments when I was growing up because I'm a musician and I love to learn different instruments even to this day. And I wanted a fiddle. I don't know if you've ever been around anybody that has tried to learn to play the fiddle, but it sounds awful. And so I got the fiddle, and everybody else was just complaining and holding their ears, and they didn't want me even playing it while they were in the house. And my dad said something to me one day. He said, I believe if Jack puts his mind to it, he'll learn to play that fiddle. He believed in himself, so therefore he was able to believe in other people. When you find your identity and know who you are, you're going to be able to believe in yourself, so therefore you're going to be able to believe in other people. Everything begins with your thinking. Why do we always try to set negative expectation? I'll tell you why. Because we are thinking negatively. I believe that some people do it from a sense of pride. And here's the reason I think they do it from a sense of pride. If they think negatively or speak negatively, expect negatively, if the good thing happens, then they're just like, wow, okay. But if they speak positively and for some reason that don't happen, then they look belittled in their own mind. And so therefore, they're all the time negative, all the time sarcastic, all the time giving the negative reason why things won't happen. Well, listen, I'm not going to live that way. I don't believe you should live that way. I don't believe nobody should live that way. I believe that you need to find your identity and listen, your repeated thoughts will become your beliefs. So if you believe, if you think negative thoughts constantly, you are going to begin to believe the negative things. So everything begins with your thinking. Also, I'm going to try to convince you. Stop waiting for life to happen. Create life. In the beginning, God created. And then it says that we were created in His image. God was a creator. That's what He is. He created everything from nothing. But because He said it, it became everything that we see today and know today. He created us in His image. Stop waiting for life to happen to you when you have been given the ability to create. Please don't misunderstand this next statement. I believe in patience. I believe that we should be patient. I believe that if we're not patient, we're going to be disappointed, because patience is what gives us the ability to allow our faith to work. But waiting to start, or waiting to believe in yourself, waiting to become the person that you are called to be or you're created to be, waiting for that rarely changes anything. You can wait your whole life and never see things accomplished. Just remember, action creates momentum. The Bible even says faith without works is dead. So action creates momentum. You cannot steer a parked car. And I'll tell you something else, fathers, mothers, leaders, entrepreneurs, nobody can follow a parked car either. You've got to be going somewhere if you want people to catch the vision. Opportunity follows movement, not the other way around. The next thing I want to talk about is identity comes before success. So many times in the Bible, and I'm trying not to be preachy today because that's not what this is about, but like I said, I can't separate my biblical standards, and I won't try, but this works. This is principles that works, whether you're a Christian, quite frankly, or not. But every place in the Bible, before something spectacular or miraculous happened, the person believed. Don't ask, what do I need to do? Ask, who do I need to become? How do I need to act? Listen, if you want to be respected as an author, write a book. If you want to be respected, I don't know, in anything, then you have to move toward that. Identity is so important. Identity always comes before success. You have to have confidence. You have to know who you are. I just wrote a book, The Power of Consistency. You have to consistently be who you know you are. That's not always easy to do. I'm telling you, I've not always done that. But I'm also telling you that that's where success comes from every time. Your habits flow from your identity. So what you believe you are, who you believe you are, that's where your identity comes from. That's where your habits come from. Sustainable change starts on the inside of you. It doesn't start on the outside. Oh, if I can get that person to change. No, what about getting that person to change? What about getting your habits to change? That's where wonderful success is going to happen. And then let's talk about holistic living. Do you know what that is? Holistic living means everything is connected. Guard what enters your mind. Do you know that leaders are readers? I'm not judging you, maybe just a little bit. But people that say, I hate reading, I wonder where they get their knowledge. I'm not talking about sitting down with a book and going, see cat run, see dog jump, hear. I'm not talking about listen on audiobooks. I do that a lot. Now, I read too. I carry books around with me in my backpack. If you see me with my backpack, you can bet your sweet bippy I've got a couple books in there at all times. But if you don't want to sit down with a book and read, turn on instead of mindlessly scrolling on social media all the time, go to YouTube and just punch in audiobook. There are thousands. I would even bet there are millions on there. But there are so many. Any book that you want to listen to, more than likely, is going to be on YouTube for free. But I will tell you how I feel about this. Your mind turns out, your body turns out, your life turns out based on how you invest in it. So if you are like one of those people that say, I'm not paying $25 for a book. Do you know that that's an ignorant statement? Ignorance meaning, because you're not dumb, you're not stupid, but ignorance meaning hopefully you don't know what you're saying. Because leaders are readers. Whether you listen to it, hey, Romans 10:9 says faith comes by hearing, hearing by the word of God. Nothing wrong with listening to the Bible. Nothing wrong with listening to a good book, an educational book, a book that makes you better. Go to find some podcasts. Find somebody that you want to be like them, or you want the things that they have in your life, and listen to them. You don't have to spend tons of money, although I will tell you there's nothing wrong with investing in yourself. You're going to pay $50,000 for a car, and nothing wrong with that. You can't hardly buy a car less than that today. But my point is, you're going to gripe about a $20 book? Come on now. Holistic living is guarding what goes in your mind, guarding what goes in your mouth, guarding what goes in your heart. I believe it's important for us to emotionally release resentment, release bitterness, and learn healthy emotional habits. Can I tell you a secret? Not everybody that's in my life do I let them in every emotional part of my life. No. They don't have the combination to all those locks. It doesn't mean I don't love them, but it means, I heard an old man say this one time, you love everybody. You be good to everybody, but then you put them in the appropriate place in your life. And you don't have to announce that. Matter of fact, I don't announce that. But I've learned to take care of myself enough that everybody can't have access to every part of my life. And then, you've got your physical health. What do you eat? What do you eat? It will determine your physical health. Let's talk about spiritual health. What do you do spiritually? Do you ever go to church? So you don't have to go to church to be a Christian. No, you didn't have to take a bath either. But we're all glad that you did, because you're protecting the hygiene, which protects your health. When you go to a good church, a church that teaches you biblical principles. If you don't want to go to a church where a hateful preacher is, I don't blame you. But there's every flavor of church today. Find a place where you can go and be led by a good pastor into a place of spiritual health. You should do that. Well, it ain't none of your business to tell me that, Pastor. Okay, but I'm doing it anyway. You're watching my podcast. I want to help you. And we have to learn to live holistically. We have to learn to live healthy in our bodies, healthy in our souls, which is our mind, our will, our intellect, our emotions, and live healthy in our spirits. And then we got to know that our words reinforce our identity. Your self-talk matters. Your self-talk matters. Words reinforce beliefs. Words influence decisions. And I'm going to encourage you to do this. Speak in agreement with who you're becoming, and not who you've been. I'm going to say that again. Speak in agreement with who you are becoming and not who you have been. Listen, I don't want to be judged by my past. So I got to stop judging myself by my past. And the way I stop judging myself is stop calling those things back into my life that are not. And you know what? Faith without action produces little or nothing. You got to have faith. Listen, you don't have to go to church if you don't want to. It's your life. You don't have to even be a Christian, but you have to believe in something. Now, I can't imagine not going to church. Long before I was a pastor, matter of fact, I had my heathen years in my late teenage years. I still went to church by myself, living on my own as a teenager. So I'm telling you, you need to go to church. There's something you receive in that place that you don't receive anywhere else. But if you don't want to go to church, I'm telling you, you have to believe in. What do you believe in? Who do you believe in? What do you believe you can do? How do you believe you can prosper? How do you think that good things are going to come into your life? Faith without action produces little or nothing. What you believe will produce movement. Question is, what direction are you moving? Vision. You say, I can just see where I want to end up in life. Well, you know what vision does? Vision requires preparation. You got to prepare yourself for where you see yourself. You got to prepare yourself to be able to handle what you are believing for. And then you should have hope. This world is full of people that says, oh, there's no hope. I'm telling you, get your hopes up. Get your hopes up that you can overcome that obstacle, because I believe you can. I believe that you have the will to do anything. The man who started the space program in America, he was working for John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy was the president at the time, and John F. Kennedy went to him. I believe his name was Warner von Braun. I believe, if I'm wrong, excuse me, but he's the father of the aerospace industry in America, or the program. And John F. Kennedy said, "What will it take to get a man on the moon?" You know what he said? The will to do it. That's what he said. So you've got to have the will. You've got to have the faith. And the only way you will get to that place is know who you are, the identity. So build evidence of your new identity. It might mean change the way you dress. It might mean change the way you wear your hair. It might mean change the way you talk. But you've got to build evidence of your new identity. You've got to get yourself prepared for where you want to be in your life. That's required of you. God, just make me who you want to be. He says, I already made you. You get to choose who you are. And I believe that with my whole heart. See, confidence grows through repeated actions. The only way that I became a good piano player is I played a lot. The only way that I became a good guitar player is I played a lot. The only way that I have honed a lot of skills that I have is I've done them over and over and over again. And that's the way it's been for you. I promise you that's the way it is. So build evidence of your new identity. Every healthy decision that you make reinforces your identity. So if you want better health, work out. It is amazing to me how cheap financially it is to be a member of a gym. You can go 24/7. The one I'm a part of, I pay $21 a month, and I can go 7 days a week, stay as long as I want to, and I can work out. And I'm not telling you that you have to go and spend hours and hours. Maybe you don't go to the gym at all. But if you want to have a healthy body, then you've got to work out some. You've got to work your muscles. You got to eat healthy. There ain't nobody you know likes sweets any better than I do. But I have to eat watermelon instead of Little Debbie's if I want to be healthy. I have to eat an apple instead of a Reese cup. And if you have any identity, any idea of who I am, me and Reese Cup through my life have almost had the same identity. But I can't eat them every day if I want my health to be right and I want my health to be good. You have to start the new habit and then just do it one day at a time. If you miss a day, start again. Don't quit. You got this. Now, I'm going to give you some practical steps for this week to change your identity so that you can change your life. Write down the identity that you want to develop. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be an author? Do you want to be a singer? Do you want to be the best husband you can be? Do you want to be the best wife you can be? Do you want to be a great preacher? Do you want to be a great musician? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? Do you want to start new businesses? Write it down. And this is what I've been taught, and this is what I've been doing. There's something that happens, and there are statistics that are available that have been scientifically proven about this, but there's something that happens when you write on white paper with blue ink. There's just something that happens in our brains that they have discovered. Now, have I discovered that? No. Am I taking someone's word for it? Yes. But it sure don't hurt. But whether it's pink ink and green paper, write it down. Start somewhere. Identity beliefs are so important. So what you need to do is identify beliefs that no longer serve you? What do you believe in, or what did you used to believe that you no longer believe in, that no longer serve you? Replace the old habits with new empowering beliefs. And then do some evaluation. Take notes, evaluate this week. What are you feeding your mind? What are you feeding your body? What are you feeding your spirit? All those are important. Take one intentional action every day. And then always celebrate the progress that you're making. Hey, if you are used to drinking 6 Cokes a day, and there are so many people that drink so many more than that, if you drink 6 Cokes a day and you this week can drink 5, celebrate that. But don't stop there. Your kidneys are saying, please don't stop there. Change your thinking. Change your beliefs. Change your identities. Live proactively instead of reactively. That's so important. So many people live reactively. And I've done that. Oh my goodness, I've done that. But just remember, your future does not begin someday. It begins the moment that you decide to become someone different. Change your identity and your life will begin to change. I'm Jack Midkiff, and I wished before you turn this off that you would go and hit the subscribe button. You would go and you would share this with everybody you know so that we can get the good word out. And then go to jackmidkiff.com. Go to Jack_Midkiff and all the socials and follow. Because I promise you, there'll not be a day that I don't give you something that'll make you better. Because I found a lot of things that have made me better. I've gone through a lot of stuff. But today I am a whole person because of good habits. And you can be too. Hey, see you soon.